I want you to pay attention to the word create. You would notice that it loosely rhymes with the word crazy. Doesn't it? It does, right? Good. And that is to tell you something really important about people who really stand out in this industry. How many of you want to be filmmakers, hopefully, in future? Good. I can tell you that only the crazy ones will succeed. That's very, very important. Now, what does it mean to be that creative that stands out? What is that extra element that you need? And I will, buttress this with my own personal story. So I studied electrical engineering in school. Why is everybody shouting? Yes, I did electrical engineering in school, and while I was really good at passing exams, I had zero knowledge of how to solder stuff together. I didn't know what I was doing. And in my final year, I fell in love with computers, and I was like, oh my God, this is something that allows me to create. Technology was still very new. Then, my first computer had a 4 gigabyte hard drive, not 4 terabytes, 4 gigabytes. And we did everything with that computer. And I kept figuring out what I would necessarily have to do to be different. And I realized that if I kept being stubborn and focused on the things that I really cared about and merged it with the things the computer could do, maybe I would stand out. And when I got out of school and I, thought about coming into Nollywood, I told myself, I'm not going to do what everyone is doing. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to make a film that is science fiction, and we're going to blow the Third Mainland Bridge up. We're going to have people fighting robots. We're going to have spaceships. We're going to do all kinds of cool things. And we did it, and it was woeful. It was terrible. It was, people really abused me when I made that first film. It's called Kajola. I don't know, someone pirated it. It's on YouTube. And when we made the film, we made it because I just wanted to do something different. I was really stubborn, but I wasn't smart enough to understand the market that I was targeting. And it took me another journey of about 2-3 years to realize that just being stubborn is not enough. Having a key understanding of the market, understanding how to use the technology was the next step. But if I wasn't stubborn, I wasn't even going to make the film in the first place. And so I put all that effort into ensuring that I understood filmmaking at a very fundamental level, that we understood the Nigerian audience, because if you're going to make any stuff for the audiences, that is a whole learning entirely. And by the time we combined all that together, we had Anthill Studios. I can tell you right now that Anthill Studios is a leader when it comes to pushing technology in film. You guys saw Jagun Jagun last year, King of Thieves, House of Secrets. But I'm going to talk about 2 projects which will make me end my video. One was Mikolo. Mikolo, luckily some of the Covenant interns also worked on Mikolo. And Mikolo was special because we started thinking about how to merge computer-generated imagery, with live-action imagery, so we could tell stories for children, so we could tell fantasy stories for children. And while it took a very, rough, approach, but we realized something, that the technology is moving so fast, but the technology is available. Unlike before, when you had to spend so much money, travel out of the country, spend a lot of dollars to do, computer graphic stuff, now you practically just need a very good computer with a very good graphics card. And this is where you guys stand out. This is the opportunity you have that a lot of people do not have. You have access to cheaper technology, you have access to information, but I can tell you, if you want to make that next big blockbuster, or you want to rise from nowhere and be the next person in Nollywood, you're going to have to figure out how to use technology. The second film that we really explored, and we just released a couple of weeks ago, is a film called Casa de Novia. How many of you heard about the film? And, before I end, I'm going to show you some of the behind the scenes. And Casa de Novia was a very simple question. We don't tell boring stories at Anthill. We wanted a story about a haunted house, with a ghost and lots of visual effects. And I want to say something, in closing, that the knowledge that we had, even for Mikolo, could not deliver CASA. We had to take that extra step. And we used a lot of artificial intelligence, AI. We used it in creating some of the scenes, adding some of the effects. And that has helped us go from a studio that was just a post-production studio 5, 6, 7 years ago to one of the leading studios currently in the country. And you will be surprised when I tell you that I'm probably the oldest person in the company, and some of the finest people in the company are not even 25 years old. The person who was in charge of the VFX you're about to watch now is 25 years old. The person who did most of the compositing work is just 23 years old. So you can do it if you're stubborn enough and you're ready to learn and adapt to technology. Can we play the video, please?